Hey everybody, welcome to Tuesday. It's Q&A and Ask Me Anything. I'm Debbie Levitt from Delta CX and I'm here to take your questions and give you live mentoring. So anything that's on your mind that you think that I am qualified to talk about or you just want to hear what I have to say about it, send it in. You can put it in the YouTube or LinkedIn chat, or we have an Ask Anonymously link at dcx.to, which will redirect you to our giant page of links with all of our community stuff and our courses and our events calendar and our Patreon and all that stuff. So please head over to dcx.to every time you are wondering things, which reminds me to thank all of our paid and free Patreon members. We have over 300 Patreon members. I think about 70 or 80 are paid. And thank you so much for the people financially supporting what I'm doing. Oops, I accidentally put a half-hour countdown timer on, so forget the gong. We'll blow past it. But if you'd like to join the Patreon, of course, we welcome you even at the free tier. You don't have to open your wallet if it's not a good time for that. But the paid levels do start at $1 a month. And so thanks to everybody supporting me emotionally and financially. Hello, Naz. Catch you tomorrow. Normally what we do here is people send in questions ahead of time. We didn't get any ahead of time, so I'm just going to take questions live. And if we don't have any live questions, or if they're a little slow in coming, I'm going to tell you a story about my day, because my day sure was funky. And I'm also going to get the system ready for questions, just in case we get something. Okay, there we go. And I'll interrupt my story if a question comes in. Your question is more important than my story, but I had a pretty bad CX and UX day. Some of you know that I have dogs. Don't worry, they're all okay. And some of you know that two of my dogs wear a GPS collar so that in case of whatever, we can press the go live button and we can track where they are. Today, I couldn't find Olivia. Hold on. Let's use a picture here. Olivia is the fourth dog with the red background. So that's this dog here. And then Diana wears the other collar. So I couldn't find Olivia today. And she does wear the GPS collar. And so I went into the app and I was hoping to have it start a live tracking session so I could see where she was. And it said that her location hadn't updated in 90 minutes. And that was very strange because Olivia just loves to be close to home in the summer. And again, you can ask a question. I'm just telling a story while I wait for people to ask a question. Tractive is the company that I use, hashtag not sponsored. I pay them. They made a change to their system some months ago where they added a feature where if the GPS caller sees your home Wi-Fi network, hi I-10, this was drama, sit down. If the dog's GPS caller sees the home Wi-Fi network, it kind of puts it into an almost sleep mode. You know, why burn the battery down if the dog is safely at home because it's in the range of your Wi-Fi? So we have that running on the two trackers that we have, and we've got two Wi-Fi networks across our property so that the dogs will usually ping into one of them. So today when I couldn't find Olivia, I wanted to press the go live button so I could see where she was. The problem is that Tractive designed it so that if the dog is pinging off a Wi-Fi network, you can't go live. The assumption is the dog is safely at home. The dog is just fine in your home Wi-Fi network. And why would you want to go live? The dog's home. But we've got two Wi-Fi networks that cover an acre of property. And I couldn't find Olivia. Great question from Naz. I will finish my dog CX and UX story, and then we'll make that our first question of the day. Thank you so much for that one. I certainly have opinions. So obviously, this is a product strategy and CX and UX mistake. It does not make sense to have it such that I can't press the live button because my dog is somehow pinging off our Wi-Fi network. I spent 90 minutes walking around, walking up, going all over. I thought the dog might be dead because I'm calling for her. I can't find her. She's not responding to me. I can't go live on the GPS, but yet the GPS system is telling me the dog is close to my house enough to ping on the Wi-Fi system. So I tried going into the app and I tried disconnecting the tracker from the Wi-Fi system, thinking that would force it to kind of refresh itself and then I would be able to press the go live button. Well, I found out from support today that the which Wi-Fi systems it pings off of refreshes every 12 hours. So I would not, that didn't work. I tried a bunch of things and mostly I was just shaking and crying. Finally, my husband came home and said, I wonder if she somehow got closed in the carpenter's workshop, which is the building next door, which would explain why she's pinging on our home Wi-Fi. Wouldn't you know, the dog somehow found her way into the carpentry workshop when it was open, and someone closed the door, didn't know she was in there. She must have been in there for hours. There would have been no way for me to figure that out. And that's an interesting product strategy question. If you have a GPS system for dogs and you have one job, my job to be done is find my dog. Why would you deactivate the ability to find the dog because the dog's collar is pinging off your home Wi-Fi? Not happy. Still trying to calm down from that. All right, let's take a look at, thank you for listening to my story. I need the therapy session there. Let's put Naz's question up on the board. Here we go. Hi, Mina. Naz says, I just spoke to many podcast guests coming to the designops Aligned show, and a topic was brought up by many of them, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the climate at the moment, that everyone is worried about AI taking over their jobs. What's your thoughts on this? So my thoughts on this, oh, I don't have this light on, that's why I look dark and strange. There, that's a little better. My thoughts on this sound like this. A lot of people think that AI is not going to take over their jobs yet or soon because AI does our jobs badly. There are tasks that AI and AI systems and LLMs try to do that replicate tasks from coding or design or research or product management or project management. And so we have AI tools and systems trying to do some of these tasks. We're sold as, oh, it's going to help you. But really, I think that's not true. So a lot of people feel like, AI is not going to take over our jobs. It's not doing our jobs well. It's not reliable. It makes stuff up. It's just rehashing what it's been trained on, which means you're not going to get innovative stuff. You're going to get rehashed stuff. You might even end up with copyright protected stuff and you could be in trouble. It doesn't do research well. It doesn't do design well. Here's the thing. You're not wrong, but the question is, what does the leadership at any particular company think is the standard for quality work? If we don't mind if, let's just call it in general, tech work, engineering, UX, CX, product, if we don't mind that tech work is done mediocre or poorly, then it doesn't matter if AI does it mediocre or poorly. So the rallying cry or the holding on to the plush toy aspect of AI is not going to take my job because AI doesn't do it well is only half true. AI doesn't do your job well. But if there is someone in leadership who kind of doesn't care how well your job is done, and if they would rather see your job done quickly and cheaply than to see it done well, then AI can take your job. And as I've written in my article called, what was it? Democratization Makes It Easy for AI to Take Our Jobs. Google for that one. It's on Medium and my LinkedIn newsletter. As I mentioned in that, the whole fake democratization movement makes it easy for AI to take our jobs. Because if we used to have, let's say, specialized UX researchers who could show that they had years of experience, skill, talent, expertise, maybe even education in this area. And we all of a sudden say, no, we don't want those people to do the work, or we don't want them to be the only people doing the work. We want product managers to do research too. Most researchers report back to me that their product managers don't do the research well. Well, if we've decided that there's no standards here and a product manager can do UX research even if they're doing it badly, then that sets the stage for AI to take that job because of our lack of quality standards. If we have quality standards and someone says, no, the product manager can't do this research, this person's doing a terrible job. These questions are terrible, this research is flawed. If we have quality standards, then someone says, AI can't take this job. This was terrible. I actually had a company contact me claiming they had AI that could replace a researcher. And you could go to their website and try it for free as the participant. So it was going to show you a photo, and then it was going to ask you preference questions and things you've noticed about the photo. And I remember at one point, and this is an AI voice, so you're actually talking to an AI. And I remember at one point it asked me a question, and I inhaled to answer it. And it said, "Great, thanks. Let's go to the next question." What? So, that's certainly a mistake that a human researcher wouldn't make. I'm very surprised that the AI couldn't tell that I didn't answer the question and that I was only breathing. But if there's somebody out there who thinks, well, that system's got a good price and whatever it does is probably good enough, then someone might think it can replace me. So remember, the person who thinks that AI can do your job is not you. The person who thinks that AI can do your job is going to be the person who controls the budgets, the headcount. And if they decide that AI can do your job, even if they're 1,000% wrong, you might find that you're laid off or they won't open more jobs when we know we need more researchers, just as examples. And so I think that we can't be complacent about the, I'll put in quotes, threat of AI, because the argument that AI is not going to take our jobs because AI doesn't do it well is not a strong enough argument. And it's an argument that might not matter because of the people who are making the decisions. If someone doesn't care if your job is done well and they just want to see deadlines met and something on a page, AI could do that. I10 says, I'm not at all worried about that. AI could make designs and prepare interview questions, yes, but so much of my work is managing expectations and relationships and putting out fires. AI can't do it. Are you sure? You sound just like the person I was just describing who says, wait a minute, AI can't do this, or AI can't do this well. And my question is, are you sure? Is there someone at a company somewhere that might say, AI is not great at it, but it's good enough and it's getting better? iTown also says, even OpenAI as a company not using OpenAI to replace its employees, only to make certain things efficient. It's a great tool. It's like Google on steroids, and I believe some positions could be faded away or replaced like they did without AI long before, but not most of them. iTown says, yes, I'm sure. I hope I did a good impression of the emoji face. Yeah, so I-10's sure, that's fantastic. I always love I-10's confidence. I wish I had it. But I would have to say for this particular topic, it doesn't matter how confident we are because we're not the ones deciding this. Very rarely are we the people going, you know what? Yeah, bring in some AI research tools to semi-replace me. That's not a thing. Haha, good impression, Debbie. Thank you. Should probably do without the glasses. Actually, might have helped. Naz says, how important do you think the ability to storytell in your design? Naz, aren't we talking about this tomorrow? I feel like you're just asking me all of tomorrow's questions. So let's get Naz's second question on there. All right. Paste. Okay, Naz says again, how important do you think the ability to storytell in your designs is in UX? I ask because there's an article being published soon by a cool designer who talks about the struggles introverts go through in the UX world. So you'll hear a lot about storytelling and the idea that storytelling is important. Storytelling is important when we are. No, we're going to talk about something different. Okay, good. Storytelling is important in all areas of UX because very often we have to make presentations. We might have to try to convince people of things. We might have to show them information or data that they hadn't considered or disagree with. And storytelling goes into that. Storytelling goes into our portfolios. Storytelling goes into our interview conversations. And so to me, you can't really get away from storytelling. Now, people who might be introverted or shy or anxious are still stuck doing storytelling like everybody else. How can you feel better about that? Hey, I've got a new course on that. plug. Check out my new course on writing and public speaking. That might help people feel better at telling a story through their writing and their speaking. That I hope it will. So check that out. And if you want a discount code for it, get in touch with me. I'll get you a discount code. Yeah, so an article published by a cool designer, I'll decide if they're cool, self-appointed cool designer, the struggles introverts go through in the UX world. Yeah, so there definitely are struggles that people go through in the UX world, whether they're introverted or not. Storytelling can be one of them, but I think, again, you can't get away from it because we have to collaborate with others. We have to be able to speak to our designs and our design decisions and why we did certain things. We have to explain what's likely to work for the target user, what's unlikely to work from them because of research data or best practices or something else. I think we're kind of stuck being storytellers at least part of the time. So I do try to recommend that people get more comfortable with that where possible and try to boost their confidence, which again is why I'm writing a course about it. So so the ability to storytell in the design itself, that I don't know, did you mean storytelling in your collaboration and working with other people, or do you mean that the design tells a story? I think that most of our designs don't tell the story, and I think if my designs had to tell a story, I would hope it is a story of, this is easy to use. This just makes sense. You don't have to remember how to do this. This just worked. So that would be the story I hope my designs would tell, but I know that in a lot of other areas, you would have to tell stories with respect to presentations or explaining your work or defending your work and things like that. I hope that makes sense. People keep emailing me to tell me about a new feature I don't want, still don't want. Let's see. Yeah, so I don't see any other anonymous questions coming in. So, let me know if people have any questions or follow-up questions. You can ask a follow-up question to someone else's question. So, totally up to you. This is your time for kind of free group mentoring. Yep, see you tomorrow. Thanks. How's job hunting going? Okay. Let's let's copy and paste that one and put them up on the list. Oh, a nice question from Aditi. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name very well. Okay, Aitan says, "How's job hunting going?" Well, I don't have a job, so technically not great, because I haven't found a new job yet. I am still applying. I am not in an interview process at this time because of various reasons. I was in a preliminary conversation with a company last week, but I sent them a note that I didn't want to move forward because their idea of remote work was I would have to move to one of 6 American cities. They were only allowing remote work from 6 American cities. I couldn't even live 3 hours from one of those cities. I don't know how they would check up on me, laptop GPS, but evidently their idea of belonging is for me to leave where I belong and not even move to a part of America where I belong, but to move to cities I don't want to live in for their corporate belonging. So I kind of said no thanks to that. Any interesting leads? No. I've definitely applied to jobs I am excited about. I think there's a few jobs out there that I would really qualify for very well. And when I applied, I was genuinely excited about them. I won't say which ones, but I have not been contacted for an interview yet, so I don't know if any of those processes will move forward. I would say I am mostly rejected without an interview, like everybody else, but hopefully I'll strike some gold out there sometime this year. I think it might be a tax for, one of my American friends here is applying to remote and UX jobs thinking, how will they know it could be tax fraud? Yeah, I don't know how they would know. And the weird thing is normally in the US, it's by state. So for example, I see a lot of job or descriptions or applications that say, look, we're only set up to pay in New York, California, making this up, Florida, Texas, and Ohio. You know, like if you don't live there, too bad. I actually got rejected from a process a year ago because my American address is Arizona and the company was not set up to pay in Arizona and they didn't want to set it up. So usually in America, it's by state. So I was really, really surprised when this company said that it had to be by city. Because I could fairly easily move to Dallas, Texas. One of my best friends lives in one of the suburbs, and she said if I had to move back to America for work, I could live with her, which would be great. I would pay her rent, and it would be much less expensive for me and an easier transition to somewhere in America if I could not live here. I don't want to leave here, but I could for work if I had to. But no, they wouldn't accept Dallas. But yet there was another city in Texas that they would accept. So it was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Aitan says, would you leave Italy? I don't want to, but I recognize that I might have to. I would rather stay in Italy and work completely remotely, as I did last year for Arizona State University. My second choice would be to commute to a European city, maybe somebody who wants me 2 days a week, and I could do Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday, and just fly out and fly back. My not preferred choice would be to leave my husband and dogs and my life here to move to America just to get a job. But I recognize it's something I might have to do if I have trouble making money doing something. So we will have to see. Let's go to Aditi's question, and I apologize, I'm probably pronouncing you badly. Okay, the question is, will the line between PM and UX designer blur? Super question and a smart question, because you're obviously seeing something that is going on out there. I believe that UX designers do not want this line to blur. I believe UX designers and product designers want their job to be UX or product design. They don't want to take on product manager tasks, and they don't want product managers doing their job. Product managers, on the other hand, appear to be going through some sort of crisis and have been for a few years, really, where you've seen companies say we don't need product managers. Marty Kagan says if you're a feature factory, you don't need product managers, and most companies are feature factories, so you do the syllogism. And so I think that, in my opinion, I've seen a lot of product managers trying to blur the lines between product management and both UX research and design because they're trying to land grab valuable work. The work we do is valuable, even when people don't completely understand it. Somewhere in their unconscious mind, subconscious, they know it's valuable. Product managers don't want to admit it, but they know it's valuable. They know that research gives us great evidence, data, and knowledge. They know that good design can make or break our products and features. And so I think that product managers are trying to blur those lines and grab our territory so that they can be seen doing valuable work because increasingly, not at every company, but disregard the gong, we're going an hour today. You see product manager. Yeah, true that. You know it. So increasingly, you see product managers kind of ending up as glorified project managers. They're supposed to wrangle engineering's priorities. They're supposed to wrangle the UXers. And my thought was, I didn't need that. And I'm old enough to remember when a product manager didn't do that. Engineers are supposed to be a self-managing team. So why would they need a product manager to wrangle their stuff for them? They're supposed to be self-managing. There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't add up when we start saying it out loud and thinking about it. And so I think what product managers are trying to do is redefine themselves right into our jobs. And I've been warning them for years that if they do this, they will end up hurting themselves because if there's a product management job that says, hey, look, we need you to do some project management and stakeholder, this and that and whatever, and the UX research and the UX design, who do you think is going to get that job? I-10's going to get that job because I-10's going to be way more qualified, having an impressive background in UX research and increasingly some work in design, than the product manager who has never held a UX job before. So to me, the more that product managers try to blur these, the more I think they're going to end up hurting themselves. And the more that either the work is just going to get done badly by product managers, not all the time, but a lot of the time, and they'll push UX people out of jobs, but that's going to be bad. And then we have to go back to the same question we started the show with was, does anybody care about quality? If our company doesn't care about quality of work, quality of outcomes, quality of customer experiences, then sure, product managers can do UX work, even if they do it badly, because we don't care. If we do care, then we have to have standards. We have to have accountability. And right now, most companies don't have that. So I don't think these lines should blur. I remember when these were separate jobs for good reasons. But I also don't see a lot of reason to have a product manager who isn't a technical product owner. I don't need a product manager to run interference for me and silo me out of dealing more directly with stakeholders. I don't need that. I don't want that. That's bad for me. So there's some of the things that product managers claim they're going to do. I don't want that. I don't need them as my team lead. They sometimes don't even understand what I do. I don't want to be overruled in a UX decision by a product manager who doesn't have a UX background. So I think that they're trying to get the lines to blur. We even saw some of this at the Figma conference, though I didn't watch it. I asked Claude to summarize a transcript of one of the presentations from a product management person who basically said, with a little help from AI, a product manager could be the whole team. And to me, this is just a save your ass kind of move, because to me, a more empowering, if you're a product manager who really wants to be empowering other people, then you wouldn't say, "Hi, I'm the product manager. I'll do everybody's jobs. I'll do the coding, or I'll have AI do the coding. I'll do the design, or I'll have AI do the design." Or like that's 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 doesn't sound like a dream job. Absolutely agree with you. Thanks for answering. Yeah, thanks for asking. It's definitely a complicated question. It's one that we've kicked around before on this channel. And in fact, I think it's what, chapter 21 in my book. I think I addressed this in the book. It's either 21 or 22 from memory. And I wrote this book in 2022. So this has been a problem for a while. Let's see. Product management. Yeah, I think I address it at the end of chapter 20, and that segues into chapter 21, which is an interview with a product leader we've had on the show. So that's my question, is what is a product manager? And is a product manager something that I, in a UX role, need? And so far the answer's been no. But at my last job, I had a technical product manager, and she was amazing. She didn't want to do any part of my job. She wanted to support me. She wanted to make sure I had all the resources I need to do my job well. She wanted to make sure I was connected with people, and she basically helped the engineering team run. Great. Works for me. Alrighty. So let's see. We still have a half hour left if anybody wants to send in a question. Questions are free. If I don't get to your question this week, you can send in a question 24 hours a day, even while I'm sleeping or you're sleeping, to dcx.to. That's a page with links. You'll find the link for the Q&A AMA show, and I hold the questions for the following Tuesday, so send them in. Hello, Monica. I've been watching your videos recently. I'm really enjoying them, but I wanted to ask. Oh my gosh, thank you, Monica. I feel like everybody is just plugging my new course today. Monica, I've been asked this so much that I'm now writing a course on how to be a better writer and speaker. So I hope you will check it out. We've got 2 people signed up already. Go to dcx.to and follow the link for cohort courses. That course is going to start at the end of September. And if you want a discount code, just contact me any way you can, even a YouTube comment, and I'll track you down a discount code. So, how did I become a great communicator? First of all, thank you. Iton says, can I send you a job description? It's unusual. Is it better for here, or is it better for critical thinking stream? I've always definitely been a communication person. Let's say that. I grew up in a chatty family where it was important to be able to express yourself intelligently. They were not emotional people. It was important to be able to state your case and express yourself intelligently and explain things. And I was often put on the spot by much older relatives. Send it for critical thinking. Great, please do. So some of this are things that I've honed over the years, which I teach in my course, and some of it is just a little bit of naturally who I am and some childhood influences. But my whole family were lawyers, and so people, my parents' generation or my grandparents' generation, these were people who would ask me to explain something or defend something on the spot. And you couldn't be whiny or emotional. You had to have a good argument. But I think that's naturally who I was anyway. So how do I break down complex ideas into simple terms on the spot? Mostly because I've done it before. Mostly because many of the questions I tend to get on Tuesdays are questions I've gotten before. That would be the primary reason. So these are answers I haven't prepared, but somewhere in my head is a couple of bullet points from something I've said before. Similarly, people are asking me questions about my field of expertise. So I have the information somewhere in my head. So if someone says, will UX and PM merge? I wrote about this. I've been on podcasts about this. So even though I don't have notes in front of me saying, say this, I do have a very good memory. I don't have a photographic memory, but I have a good memory, and I can access the key talking points that I would want to make. Ada says, when you truly understand what you're talking about, and Debbie clearly does, it gets easier. Yeah, and that's one of the points in my course about writing and public speaking is that you will write better and speak better and grow your confidence infinitely when you focus on the topics you know about. People generally don't show up here and ask me about topics I don't know about. But for example, I'm really bad at what American schools call social studies. I'm really bad at the world, history, politics, wars, countries, leaders, political systems. I'm terrible at that stuff. So if someone came by here and said, "Ooh, it's Ask Me Anything," I'm going to ask Debbie, you know, why was the treaty of blah, blah, blah ratified, or, whatever. What effect did the treaty of blah, blah, blah have on the people of blah, blah, blah? I don't know. And I'm not going to make it up. I'm just going to say I don't know that one. That's way outside of my, area of expertise. And so I remember somebody once came by a year or two ago and asked me to try to explain like the etymology of the word refrigerator or something like that. And I came up with the best Latin roots I could, and they were like, "Oh shit." It's like, okay, that's not my specialty, but sometimes I know a couple of things about words. But there's a lot of things I'm terrible at. Literature, terrible. Poetry, no thank you. Broadway shows, no. I look like I know a lot of stuff because y'all are asking me things that I know about. And so it just seems like, oh, wow, Debbie can answer any question about things she knows about. So, as long as you stay in things I happen to be good at, etymology of words, if they're Latin based etymology of words, CX and UX, what the hell's going on in our industry? Tell me a poem, Debbie. My favorite poem used to be When We Two Parted by Lord Byron. Oh, thank you for the bouncing thing there. Um, I only remember part of it. I had memorized it in high school, which would be over, what's that, 40, oh, not 40 years ago. I'm 52, so 35 years ago. I only remember some of it. Someone look up When We Two Parted by Lord Byron. I'm not looking it up. I remember, do you know this one? No, he's got his headphones on. Let's see. When we two parted in silence and tears, half broken hearted to sever for years, pale grew thy cheek and cold, colder thy kiss. Truly that hour foretold sorrow to this. Something like that. That's how it starts. And I liked it. It was super melancholy. Super goth before it was goth. It was I don't remember the rest of it, but it's high drama. I tend's gonna like it. But in general, I don't know poop about poetry. I'm bad at art. Oh man, I don't know much about art, and I don't know what I like. So yeah, it's easy for me to look like I know stuff because you're just asking me about stuff I know about. So um, I learned some Byron because I wanted to be a goth when I was younger. There you go. See, it's super goth. Um, oh, that reminds me. Speaking of goth, where's my pictures? Um, Ader, did you see the picture I found of me as Robert Smith from The Cure for Halloween when I was 15? I gotta find that. I took a picture of a picture. It's in my phone somewhere. Um, anyway, this is Ask Me Anything, and you're welcome to. And I'll take questions on anything, but I can't guarantee that I know the answer. But I'll always do my best, even if Iten's asking me to recite poetry, which I'm super bad at. I should have just gone for song lyrics. Song lyrics I can do. Here we go. I need to see that now. Okay, I just found it. Here's me at age 15, dressed as Robert Smith of The Cure for Halloween. You're welcome. Thank you, Monica. Let's see. Uh, Aizen says, I love classics. They're filled with drama. I don't know how people find Dostoevsky boring. It's like a reality show with old words. Yeah, I don't love reading. I love writing. So I'm not the expert on books. You know, whenever people say, recommend me a book by thingy, I always have to be like, oh, go look at Darren Hood's list. I'm listening to an audiobook now, but it's got nothing to do with business or UX. It's like, I think when it comes time to reading, I just don't want to hear more about that. And I'm always afraid of reading some wacky perspective that's going to make me sad. So, yeah, so usually I'm reading like biographies of musicians I like. Ask me about Ask me about music. I have a degree in music. Who has a music question? Yeah. Anyway, we've got 20 minutes left together. This is Q&A AMA. I think next week we'll have Dr. Nick. I'll have to check with him that it still works for him. And I'll be taking your questions. You can send them in ahead of time if you'd like at dcx.to. And what else? Yeah, I'm just filling my time writing 4 books at the same time and 3 courses at the same time. My days are packed with writing. Actually, I do a lot of dictating, so I don't have to type as much. Yeah, so Aitan says, is it possible for a person who has a horrible voice to sing to develop Adele voice? Define horrible voice, because it's a maybe. It's an it depends. So if you have a sense of notes, if you can hear notes and sing notes close or correctly, then yes, you can get voice lessons that can help you change your breath support and your tone, and you can sound more like Adele if you'd like. Serious question? I'm taking your question seriously. Hold on, let me put it on the list. Because then these become the YouTube description. So if you have a good ear and you can hear notes and you can match the notes, but you just wish your voice sounded more like Adele, you can be trained for that. If you are bad at hearing notes and you're bad at matching the notes, that's much, much harder to learn, because there seems to be like some brain wiring thing there where you just, I don't know how to tell your brain to hear ah, and then for you to sing back ah. So that should be an A440. Anybody want to check that? Might have been a little off. But anyway, if you can't hear that note and then match it, even if you sing it badly or in a weird way, even if you go, fine, that's still the same note. If you can't match the notes, I don't know how to tell your brain to match those notes. But if you, it really, that's why it's in it depends. My evil grandmother used to show up to our house and make me play piano so she could sing selections from the Broadway show Fiddler on the Roof. So you're telling me it's not genetic to have a nice voice. I don't think it's necessarily genetic. My mother was an okay singer. My father was an okay singer. They sang in tune, but they didn't sing amazingly. Nobody was blown away by them, but they definitely sang in tune. I sing in tune, and then I've worked really hard on trying to develop my voice and my breath support and other stuff. So I don't know if it's genetic or not, but I know that it all starts with, can you hear the notes and match them? Because the rest is technique. So I can teach you technique, but if you can't hear a note and then sing back the same note, that's why everybody's using auto-tune. So my evil grandmother, she could mostly sing in tune, but the problem was she had an incredibly, incredibly thick Bronx accent, and she sang with an incredibly thick Bronx accent. That almost works for Fiddler on the Roof, but it was not pleasant to listen to. And I remember one day she was like, "Could you teach me to be a better singer?" And I was like, "No." Aitan says, "Proper breathing. I need to learn that. I'm bad at breathing in general. Believe me or not." I believe you. I don't think you would lie to me. Ader says, "I don't believe in talent. I think everybody can achieve stuff, but it takes work and time." So I do believe in talent, but I think that, could Aitan get better at hearing a note and singing the note and matching it? I don't know. I'm sure if you go on YouTube, there will be someone who says, "I was," and this is not an appropriate term anymore, tone deaf. Not a good word, kind of ableist. I was tone deaf and now I learned to sing in tune. I don't know if I believe that, but if it can be done, then it can be done. But I know that you can certainly change the sound, the shape, the warmth of your voice. You can try to sound like Adele and impersonate her. There's a lot of things she does with her sound. You could choose on some of her stuff, and you could try to mimic her. Aitan says, "I don't know either. My piano teacher gave up on me. We'll never know." Yeah, I mean, to me, if you enjoy singing, sing. If you've got all the wrong notes, who cares? If you enjoy singing, you should be singing. Very often when I go to karaoke, people are not good singers. They're okay, or they're bad, or whatever. Do it anyway. It's about having fun. If you enjoy singing, even if you don't sing well, just do it. So, can you get better? I don't know. I think there's some things I could teach you, and there's some things that I don't think I can teach you. Yeah, says Ader, but I don't know to what. So, oh, that reminds me. Ader, when I was in Arizona in May, I went to see another Toe Hider fan, and we did a live stream on Twitch, and we sang just a whole bunch of Arian songs together. And I thought we really killed Ride the Comet. So I'll have to send you that if you care. I thought we did well. Yeah. Ader, you've got a job now. Save up. I think Arian's going to do another show next September. 13 months in Netherlands. You gotta come. What? What to which thing? Come on, everybody. I'm seeing what you write like 40 seconds later. Please use a complete sentence. What to what? What are you responding to? Ah. What do you know? I have a critical thinking thing for my turn. Okay, thanks. We'll get it on the list, though. It'll be a few more weeks. My job doesn't pay that much. Maybe next year. All right. You can get the DVD of it. I'm sure he'll make one of those. Oh, God. We got the DVD of the last show, and we haven't watched it yet because we know it was super comped. Yeah, so I don't usually sing on this channel because I don't want the copy strike. But then again, I'm already shadow banned, so could it get worse? I guess. Yeah. I remember when I used to go to karaoke in San Francisco when I lived there before I moved to Italy. The karaoke DJ had to usually every night officially make an announcement, "No more Adele." Because so many people were getting up and doing Adele, and this was 2016. The people were doing so many Adele songs that night. And he was like, "That's it, no more. If you bring me an Adele song, I'm not putting it on." Fly. Poor guy listening to Adele 350 times a night. Yeah, I bet it felt like that. I was there for some of those nights, and it was definitely a lot. Uh, Sometimes in the span of an hour or so, it would be three Adele songs, and considering a lot of these karaoke systems have 40,000 songs in them, to have three by Adele in an hour or so is too many. But I can see why he would say that. Like, if you can't see Adele, you shouldn't be singing Adele. Yeah, not everybody is great at singing. Not everybody's great at singing Adele. Um, it's a little all over the place. Um, since we don't have any other questions right now, I'll tell y'all another story. So I was singing karaoke on a cruise ship in, I guess, 2016. And being the researcher that I am, I decided to try an experiment. I decided to sing a hard song and really put myself into it. Put on a show, move around, even though I have terrible stage presence and I don't move around well, you know, go for it, faces and things and movements and hands and walking. Oh, I got a nice round of applause at the end. Great. Next time I went up, I sang a much harder song, a technically much harder song. But I decided not to move around at all and not to change my face. So, for example, if there's a high note, I wasn't going like, ah. If there was a high note, I just sang the high note with a relaxed face. And I didn't move around, and I didn't dance to it, and I didn't do hand things. And I just, honestly, I sang the crap out of it. I sang it really well, and I'm proud of myself. I got no applause at the end of it. And that was fine with me. I don't do it for the applause. I do it for myself. I'm still proud of how well I nailed that song. But it was interesting to see that I think people were reacting more to the energy than to actually the technical goodness, if you want to say. Yeah, I tend saying it's all about the performance and the presentation. Yeah, it definitely was. And I wanted to see if I could run a little experiment with that because it was like, I bet the average audience person doesn't know what song is hard to sing or not hard to sing. They just know someone's up there singing until they get up to a high note they can't hit. And then we go, oh, yeah, that was too high for them. But I think most people don't really know what's hard to sing and what isn't hard to sing. So, yeah, they definitely wanted the performance and the presentation. And I gave it on the first song and not on the second song. And after the second song, it was like, and I was like, that was great. That was fun. But the funniest part was I did some songs from the late 70s, and there were a bunch of college kids on the boat for spring break. And they came up to me and they said, oh, wow, we know that song. We love that song. And I was like, aren't you like 20? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, well, how do you know late 70s songs? And they go, it's the oldies. It's our parents' music. And I was thinking, I am old enough to be their parents. Yo! Oops. Okay. Happy to be here. I should do more karaoke. It's like dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. Not saying dressing up like a manager will make you a manager, you get my point. Hey, Richie2K2. Hi, Richie. Hi, Debbie. Big fan of your work. Do you have a rule of thumb or a short phrase for designers to keep in mind so they know they're doing real UX work? Let's put that question on the list. It's an interesting one. Yeah. Sometimes, to me, it's anything that brings back the users. Because sometimes you're caught in a fight of opinions. Well, the product manager says, I like it this way. And the engineer says, we want to build it this way. And you're saying, well, it really should be this way. And the product manager says, but I think it would be better this way. And so typically I say, well, if we don't have research, if we have research, I can say, look, the research says boop, bop, but beep. We should listen to it. But very often we don't have that research. So then we end up, I will end up saying, Well, what would work best for the user? Imagine the user is trying to do this task. Where will this go wrong for the user if we try my idea? Where will this go wrong for the user if we try your idea? And sometimes you just have to kind of do that walkthrough with them on their ideas. Sometimes other people don't have bad ideas, and I'll make a prototype out of one of them, and we'll bring it to usability testing, and we'll take the best of it and bring it into what I'm working on. Richie says, for extra clarity, on LinkedIn, I often read people like Dr. Nick or Darren saying people aren't doing real UX work. I think I am 98% of the time. How can I be sure? Probably better question for Dr. Nick and Darren, since I can't claim to know exactly what they mean by that. Dr. Nick should be here next Tuesday for our show. My guess is Dr. Nick might feel that that's work without good evidence and research, since he tends to be more of a researcher. Darren might feel that it's maybe too much UI work, since he hates UX UI and UI UX. I'm just guessing at this point. I don't know what either of these people are thinking, but you're raising a really good point about who knows what graphic I'm about to roll out, if I can find it. If you are reading their posts on LinkedIn and you're not sure what they mean, then they probably need to fine-tune them a bit. Because if you're walking away going, real UX work, what is that? Am I doing it? Am I not doing it? Then it's not really meaningful, actionable, and helpful. It's leaving you wondering, what did they mean and what should you do or not do about it? So I would have to say that I don't know what they mean by real or not real UX work, but to me, real UX work involves the users and not just guessing about them. Once you're guessing about users and you haven't involved them in early research and you haven't involved them in usability testing, it's web design. I like web design, but I'm not going to pretend it's UX work. So that, to me, is where I tend to draw the line on real UX work, is were any users involved? Pepe's here. Good to see you, Pepe. I've recently seen some design project manager roles in designops teams. What do you think is the good way to break into this career? What do they do? Yeah, good question. Sorry for forgetting to put these on the screen. We're almost done for today. Let me get this up on the screen. Thanks, Richie. Yeah, go ask those people what they mean by things, because I don't want to guess incorrectly or put words in their mouth. They're not going to like that. I've seen these too. There's a couple of jobs that say like UX program manager and design project manager. And usually I just go and read the job description because it's really hard to know. Sometimes these are just designers and somebody threw project manager in there because they're hoping that you can kind of manage yourself, that you can plan a project and you can execute on the project and you can adjust the plan as needed. So sometimes it's really just a designer who's senior enough to be able to estimate and plan their work. That's generally what it's looked like to me, but you would have to send me a job description for me to see exactly anything that you saw. But when I read those job descriptions, it tends to sound like you're a designer, but we also expect you to kind of estimate and plan your own work and kind of be able to be your own project manager. That's my best guess, but having not seen the job you're talking about, I can't say. Bream, beam. Ooh, I've got an album recommendation for everybody. Everybody knows I'm a big fan of Toehider. Toehider did our theme song, 'cause I paid him, and he's the bestest. You can also find him special guesting on lots of Arian albums. But check out Toehider's album called was it Recovery? I think you can find it on most of the music systems. It's on YouTube as well, and it's all cover songs. And he does an extremely killer Chandelier by Sia. And a few other songs. Really, I love his Hocus Pocus. His Hocus Pocus is to die for. Nice note, thank you. Yeah. Oh, his Hocus Pocus. I didn't know Hocus Pocus before Towhider started doing it. And then I was like, what the hell is this? And I fell down a rabbit hole on YouTube looking up old performances of the song Hocus Pocus. And it's this Dutch guy yodeling, and it's just wild. Do you know Dimash? He's an alien, love his technique. I think someone at my last job sent me Dimash, and I found that he was pre-recorded and pitch corrected. So he might be a great singer, but the things people keep sending me, if it is who I think it is, were not truly live. Ader says, if you can't run an observational study with users in order to build a journey map or experience map, thanks, Richie, what would be the second best way to approach it? We have a real question. Sorry we're running late, everybody, but we've just been hanging out together. And don't forget to listen to Towhider's Hocus Pocus. Now I have to go listen to that. I should sing it slowly so I don't get copy strikes. Leo, 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 Leo. Leo, Leo, bum, bum, ba. Something like that. Oh, and then it goes wild. It goes, if you can't run an observational study with users in order to build a journey map or experience map, what's the second best way? So the second best way, and you're going to have to mark the map as assumptive and not based on good observational research, is to try to collect information from the people closest to the users to try to figure out what they are doing. Sometimes that's customer support reps. Sometimes salespeople are aware of some of people's journeys, but you have to be careful because sometimes people internal to companies just see the funnel. They go, well, first they become aware of our company and then they try us out and then they would... No. We're not talking about the sales funnel. You're trying to get some other journey map. So the problem is you can build a journey map without talking to or observing users, but you want to mark it as assumptive. That you are assuming this, that you don't know, and that it would take research for us to know what is the correct or more accurate or detailed journey. Where else can you get live singing and UX information? Yeah, I would do way more singing if it wouldn't copy strike me. So you'll all have to go to my secret karaoke channel. Yeah, Ader, this is a tough one. What a lot of people do, I'll tell you what a lot of people do, and of course you'll know immediately the downsides to it, is a lot of people run a workshop. And they get people together from different parts of the company, and they go, what do you think users do? Or based on your knowledge or data, what do you think users are doing? And what do you think users are doing? And so you end up with a glued together, what do we think users are doing? But of course, what is that? It's an assumption. And if we're not going to turn opinions, guesses, and assumptions into evidence, data, and knowledge, then we just have risk. And that's why I'd want to make sure that you mark that customer journey map as highly assumptive. This is what we think we know. This could end up anywhere between 0 and 100% incorrect. So those are some of the ways that people tend to approach it. But to me, if you can't observe, talk to people. If you can't talk to people, it's crap. It's an exercise. So I don't recommend it. We're running late, and I should probably wind up for now. So that is it for this week. Friday, of course, we have our support group call. Support group is still free to join. Check it out at dcx.to, the mastermind and support group. And that's it for this week. Other than, thank you, belting. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Even with a good noise canceling microphone. Let's see what's coming up next week. Next week, nothing. I'll have to check if Dr. Nick is going to join us. He's on the list for Tuesday, but it looks like I didn't plan a webinar, and that's okay right now. I'm writing 4 books and 3 courses. So I'm going to focus on that a little bit for the summer. Thank you, I-10. Always happy to see you here. Peppy Jeans, thank you, sir. I do know that's a sir. Please excuse me. Otherwise, I don't want to assign genders to people incorrectly, though I can't claim to know anyone's pronouns. All right. So thanks to everybody for hanging out. And I guess I'll see some of you Friday for support group and some of you next week. Have a good one. And thanks, LinkedIners. Bye. And go listen to Toe Hider.